Okay, well, this is probably my favorite article. Because I love the articles of like why it's hard because I'm so hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this girl did, I'm better looking than my husband. And so it starts with, in 2018, I wrote an advice post. She's hot and I'm not, and I'm tired of hearing it. A man had written in asking for ways of responding to leering and sexist comments about his wife's appearance. I reached out, and here's what she said. So the funny part out of the beginning, like, you've got to be quite the simp to be like a dude that's like writing an article of like, my wife's too hot for me and I'm tired of hearing it. Because it is really... with a dude, the obvious answer is you're just like, well, yeah, you need to, because it's not like no one's looking at Lil Wayne when he's with a hot girl and being like, how'd you get her? It's like, you know what I mean? Of course. So it's like, you just need to figure out a way to be like, yeah, I'm important and powerful too. You know what I mean?
Just get a nice watch. People put two and two together.
Yeah, 100%. But I guess, yeah, this guy doesn't have money or whatever, probably, right? He just has his
like, I did it the old fashioned way.
Well, one thing to advice
like, he did it the impressive way, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing for the advice for the guy that the one thing you could say is like, wait 20 years, it'll sort of even out.
Yeah, exactly.
Once that girl gets to 60, no one's going to start asking those questions anymore.
No. Yeah, give it some time.
But writing into an article about like, you know, my wife's so hot, how to deal with it is like.
Where did he write into?
Well, this girl's Zero Tango, but I don't know where the original one was. Okay. This is because that gets syndicated.
Yeah.
I don't really know where the original one is. And he goes, this is how she starts. She goes, I don't know why, but when it began, but I've been apologizing for the way that I looked, and it hasn't stopped. So, you know, like this.
Hot chicks apologizing for how hot they are. You hear that a lot. Yeah.
The nightmare.
The nightmare that is apologizing for your hotness.
So being it's probably my favorite genre of blog is like, my life's hard because I'm too hot.
Too hot. I mean, the ultimate was the one we covered last time when we got to the bot, like we found the chick, remember?
And she was pretty medium.
In the hardware store, she was like a 6 or a 7.
Well, that's what it does feel like whenever you have these things where it's like a girl and the guy, it's like, oh, our life is so hard because I'm just so hot.
And then it turns out he's just been telling her how hot she is, but she's not.
He's either brainwashed or he's just hyped her up so much. My husband and I have been dealing with this since we began dating. I've always thought of this as something we manage together, even though we are usually alone when this crap happens. And when the crap happens is what she's saying is a guy coming up to her and like hitting on her. Or the guy being like, your wife's pretty hot. And the guy's like, really, man?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, come on. I mean, which is rare. I've definitely been, you know, I'm sure any guy who has a decent looking girlfriend, as you know, you walk around, just guys look at your girlfriend.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It's just like, that's the game. And we're looking at their girlfriends if they ever fucking can pull something that's not gross.
But you're not like, hey, we have a problem that needs to be solved right now. I'm so sick of this dynamic where I've got a hot women, you know, it's just like such a funny thing, right? But yeah, the real advice, because she got advice from a chick, which is like, what you really need is someone to be like, yeah, you need to figure out how to have like some power to max out her hotness. Otherwise, if that dynamic,
if you're not getting anything from, I mean, I guess you get to have the hot.
But if you have no like power sort of in the relationship, and she's just like, that's our dynamic. I'm so hot and he's just below me and we're equal in every other way, but I'm way out of his league. It's like, that's going to
make more money than him.
It's going to be a hard facility to
tough for that guy. Yeah.
You got to have some way that you're like important to her, you know, that isn't just like stick with the old bag.
Sure. I mean, at that point you're on thin ice the whole time.
And constantly
on thin ice. Go like this can, the balance of, the power.
Elvis Stoica skating on a pond.
Yeah, not good.
We both had hateful, mean-spirited things. At a neighborhood party after arriving in our new car, someone asked me if my husband sent me in to do the negotiating to distract the salesperson.
Yeah, because we all know how good chicks are at negotiating. It's like, if anything, the hotter you are, the worse you do in negotiations.
Probably.
Because you're just like, you're like, oh, this dumb chick is like, we'll just rinse her.
And they never say if it's a guy or girl.
So funny
it makes such a big
negotiating.
difference.
Man, like moving in with my chick and like finding out all like the dumb stuff she's like involved with.
Buying.
Not even that. Like, so when we moved in, and then so she's like she had her internet, and she had like an internet TV phone package, and like you pay every month for a landline. And she's like, I don't know, do I? I'm like, you do.
You sorted all the finances.
I went in. Well, I was like, because I'm now involved, right? So then I go, okay, well, I guess let's get to the bottom of this. She was paying for internet, cable, and her landline like $250 a month.
That is rough.
Which is crazy. And I go, okay, we're canceling this all.
Yeah, that's the end of that whole thing.
Yeah, well, I was like, but I'm like, did you know that this is what you pay? And she goes, I don't know.
All that being said, I probably have some of that stuff too.
Man, I mean, we all do, I guess, to a degree, but hers just the idea that she's like, and then I called Spectrum and I was like, hey, like, we don't want the landline. And then they're like, well, we could like knock this down to $190. I was like, just cancel it. Like,
yeah, the deal's insane.
It's quite crazy, but I'm like, she just, I don't know. The idea that women are sick negotiators.
And well, I think that their premise is that she walked in and the guy was just like, oh, you can have it for free.
Yeah, of course. It goes,
like he was just, but excuse me, sir.
It's like not a drink at a bar.
Yeah.
You know?
But excuse me, sir. I would just love to have this.
I guarantee you when a super hot chick walks into a car dealership, they're just like, jackpot.
Yeah, of course.
Like that's like
because a super hot chick probably has access to funds.
Doesn't know what they're doing, like doesn't know anything about cars, doesn't know anything about financing. They're just like, they just want a shiny car.
100%. Yeah. So obviously the compliment doesn't make sense, but more importantly, the idea that this is like the most insane thing that's ever happened. You know what I mean? Like
hot chick in a nice car.
No. That she's saying like, we've been dealing with this kind of shit. I know. And you go, what kind of shit? Like this, well, one time a few years ago for like, you know, the examples aren't like, how the fuck are you? They're nothing that crazy.
It's almost the format of this is like, we're in an interracial relationship.
Yeah.
Deal with.
That's exactly the format.
Yeah. It's like, you don't though.
Hateful. That's what she said. Hateful and mean-spirited things. So it's not really that mean-spirited. That's what I was saying. Is that the mean-spirited to be like, oh, your wife's so hot, she probably did the negotiating, even though that doesn't make sense. It's just like, I don't know if mean-spirited is the right word. A coworker once questioned whether I'd been sexually assaulted or if I was just playing it safe by choosing my husband. Like she goes, you've obviously were raped or something. Like there's no way you'd just be with him.
Yeah. Like you have a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
Would cause you to choose that gross sack of shit.
Yeah, but then then there's that ones where you're like, yeah, like that's like that person shouldn't have said that, but you go, that's not like indicative of like your life's constantly hard. You go, you had one person that said something weird.
Yeah, one person who's like,
but she
you
says
probably got fired.
She says all day, every day, people are saying like, yo, you probably trauma, right?
Yeah. He goes, this guy like your assistant or
yeah,
like you getting that all the time? He goes, does this guy work for you or?
That's what she's saying. And she goes, playing it safe. I mean, that sounds like probably either A, it's a girl that's kind of, you know, oh, you're just playing it safe and that girl's a little too nosy Parker. Or it's a guy that is trying to smash.
Yeah.
Which probably a lot of these are that, right? She's like, I'm getting hateful comments, but a guy is like trying to down her boyfriend. To be like,
well, guys are like, see the boyfriend and they go,
maybe
I can get in there.
Wait a second.
Sure.
Yeah. So you're saying there's a chance.
Do we know what she looks like?
There's no, there wasn't a picture. I think there was, but it wasn't actually her because she wanted to be anonymous. Yeah, that's what it was. Right. My husband and I are childless by choice, and the more than one person has joked, "Oh, I'm sure if I looked like that, I wouldn't want to lose my looks to childbirth either." But I think that
chick said that.
That chick said that probably, yeah.
For sure.
But also, I feel like if you're a hot chick and you have a kid, you're probably still a hot chick.
Not always. No.
Depends on the build, I guess.
Yeah, that definitely depends. Some people you could tell, you go, they'll always stay hot or at least keep their frame. And then some people you go like, oh, you don't keep on top of that. That's going to get away from you real fast.
Depends on the look. Yeah. If you have a little bit of meat on the bones.
Yeah.
We felt so much relief when you told us we didn't have to go to the parties or places where we get treated like that. So basically what happened was this is my favorite part, that when the guy messaged saying like, we always deal with this stuff, she said, well, what, you don't have to go to those places. Why don't you just do your own thing and don't go to those parties and be around those people who are going to say stuff like that, right?
So it's new friends.
Well, but yeah, exactly. And also the solution is your wife's too hot. You just can't go out in public. Like it's almost like
a little bit of a Saudi Arabia situation.
That's what it's like. Her advice, like Saudi Arabian guy, Hoodville guy. Your wife's staying at home.
Well, just put a tarp over her. She's staying at home.
It really is like, but instead of being like, yeah, that doesn't sound that bad. Her thing is like, you got to get her in a burqa. That's the
burqa her up.
There's no other way.
Have you considered Islam?
It's sort of, or it's for the boys' advice. You know what I mean? Like this guy's like masquerading as a girl, being like, yeah, you shouldn't just go to the party. And this guy's like, yes, I don't want to go to fucking parties. Your work event, you don't want to go there.
Yeah,
people are going to be saying you're too hot for them. You know what I mean?
You know, why subject yourself? Stay home.
Babe, if we go to the movies, there's a good chance that one of the ushers tells us that like, you're too hot for me.
We can't risk it.
We can't take an Uber somewhere. The Uber driver's going to say that I shouldn't be with you.
Yeah.
So that was my favorite, that advice. I used to think that by not going, the hate, jealousy, and judgment were winning, and we were losing out. We did skip his work party and instead went out to an evening just to ourselves and did a winter activities she would have not, right? But so the bottom line was this girls got them convinced that both of them, that they don't go to work parties, you don't go to family functions. You two just have to do your own thing.
Yeah, this is a guy writing this.
It has to be, right?
Has to be. This is a Your Tango mole right here.
The advice of your girl's too hot, so the two of you need to not go anywhere ever.
Just don't do anything. Don't go out for dinners. Did you write this?
She's too hot.
Sounds like advice you would give, to be honest. This is like Ryan Long.
Keep her at home, dude. You don't want her fucking out there fucking the wolves.
Yeah, just hang out at home. No nice dinners. Just, you know.
Have you considered, like, you know what? And sometimes you might get the urge, so you're probably going to want to put like a chain around your leg and attach that to the radiator, that just to make sure that you don't. Yeah,
because sometimes you'll forget that this situation exists and you'll just go out.
You'll accidentally go. If you don't have that chain around your leg and the radiator, you'll accidentally find yourself in a situation where you go out and have someone call you hot.
The horror of it all.
It does sound like sort of like a jealous like hood dude though, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, put her in track pants, like
totally
force her not to wear makeup.
Break the shower so there's no shower.
Break the shower, have her smelling. You got to just gross her up a bit, fatten her up, you know what I mean?
All the things, yeah.
And most importantly, keep her in her bunker. I don't think she should even leave her room. If she wants to leave her room to go to the kitchen, we'll allow that, but none of the other rooms.
No, you can't.
No common
can't risk
areas.
it. You can't risk a comment.
Exactly. I don't know if you saw this.
The best would be if the guy's like, in real life, he goes like, you're not hotter than me. Like, it's one of those things too, because like, I know we talk about this all the time. You bring it up a lot, but you're objectively not hotter than me.
This is the thing.
It's like one of those like empowered chicks. Like she's like 400 pounds and she's like,
I know you think this. Yeah. Yeah, the girl's like, I'm just so smoking hot. And the guy's like, I mean, I've been telling you that because I'm nice.
Yeah, because I love you, but you're not.
We both look normal.
Yeah, we're both a pretty normal couple.
Mixed hotness couples. That's the fucking... So anyways, I was loving how traumatic that whole thing was for her.
I hope she sorts it out.
Mm-hmm.